In the great Hausa kingdom of Zazzau around 1533 in Zaria, where the sun bathed the golden fields in warmth, a child was born under the sign of the lion. The midwives gasped as they beheld her. Her cry was strong, her fists clenched as though ready for battle. She was named Amina, daughter of King Niketo and Queen Bakwa Turanku. Even as a child, Amina was different from the other princesses. While her sisters learned to weave and sing, Amina stole wooden swords from the palace guards, swinging them at invisible foes. The elders whispered among themselves, wondering if this girl was truly meant to rule. But the old seer of the kingdom, Baba Danjibwa, saw her future in the flames of his sacred fire. She will be a queen unlike any other. She will conquer lands and be remembered for all eternity, he said. From the age of 10, Amina followed the warriors of Zazzau as they trained. Her father, King Niketo, laughed at her stubbornness but never stopped her. She rode horses, learned archery, and studied the art of war. "You fight like a lion," said Dan Galedima, the chief warrior of Zazzau, after she bested him in a duel. Her younger brother, Koromi, admired her but feared what others would say. "Sister, they will never allow a woman to rule as a warrior," he warned. Amina only smiled. "Then I shall make them see that a woman can lead not just with wisdom, but with the sword." At 16, Amina was already feared among the warriors of Zazzau. She could outrun, outfight, and outthink most men in battle. Her mother, Queen Bakwa, was the true ruler behind the throne, and she saw the fire in her daughter's eyes. "The throne of Zazzau is not for the weak," Queen Bakwa told her. "If you wish to rule, you must be stronger than any man." Amina took this lesson to heart. She trained in secret with the best warriors, even venturing into the dark forests where the Bori spirits lived, learning from the hunters and warlords of the land. One fateful evening, the great drums of Zazzau echoed across the land. The king had died. A mourning silence fell over the kingdom. Queen Bakwa took the throne, ruling with wisdom and strength, but many whispered that a woman's rule was temporary. Amina, now a fully trained warrior, knew that one day she would have to claim the throne herself. But for now, she waited and learned from her mother. Queen Bakwa expanded Zazzau's influence, forging alliances with neighboring states. But even the strongest rulers cannot stop fate. After many years of rule, Queen Bakwa fell ill, and the kingdom grew restless once more. With Queen Bakwa's passing, the council debated, should Amina rule, or should her brother Koromi take the throne? But Amina did not wait for their decision. She marched into the royal hall, sword in hand, and declared, "I am Amina, daughter of kings and queen of warriors. If any man doubts my right to rule, let him challenge me here and now." No one dared. Thus, Amina ascended the throne as the first warrior queen of Zazzau, and the kingdom rejoiced. But the warriors of the land whispered among themselves. A woman had never led an army before. Could she truly rule in war? Queen Amina smiled at their doubts. She would show them. A year into her rule, war came knocking. The kingdom of Nup, long an enemy of Zazzau, launched an attack. The council suggested sending the generals to lead the army. But Amina laughed. "If I am to be queen, then I shall fight like one." She donned her armor, mounted her warhorse, and led her warriors into battle. Under her command, the Zazzau army struck with the fury of a storm, and Nup was driven back. The people cheered. Their queen was not just a ruler, she was a warrior. With her victory over Nup, Queen Amina sought to expand her kingdom. She led campaign after campaign, conquering lands as far as Kano, Katsina, and Gobir. She built mighty walls around the cities she conquered, ensuring their safety. These walls, called Amina's walls, would stand for centuries. But victory came at a cost. Enemies lurked in the shadows, and betrayal whispered in the night. One of Amina's greatest challenges came when the king of Kebbi, once an ally, betrayed her. He gathered an army to strike against Zazzau. Amina, always prepared, met him in battle at the plains of Turanku. The battle raged for days, but with a clever strategy, Amina captured the king of Kebbi himself. She spared his life but took his lands, sending a message: those who betray Queen Amina will lose everything. The city of Kano was mighty, its walls high and its warriors fierce. But Amina was not afraid. She laid siege to Kano for weeks, cutting off their supplies. When the people could endure no more, they surrendered, and Kano became part of Zazzau's growing empire. But deep in the shadows, dark forces plotted against her. A powerful sorcerer named Malam Zubairu offered to aid Amina with dark magic. He promised her the power to conquer all of Hausa land. But Amina, wise as she was strong, refused. A true ruler wins battles with strength and wisdom, not tricks. Angered, the sorcerer cursed her, vowing that she would never find peace. And thus, her fate was sealed. With Kano under her rule, Queen Amina set her sights on the great northern lands. These regions were vast, ruled by nomadic warlords who bowed to no king. They were led by Saken Dawaki, a fierce warrior known for his speed on horseback and his unmatched skill with the spear. Amina sent emissaries to negotiate peace, but Saken Dawaki laughed at their offer. "I bow to no queen," he declared. "Let her prove herself in battle, or let her return to her palace where she belongs." Amina, never one to turn from a challenge, led her warriors north. The battle was unlike any she had faced before. The warlords fought like the desert winds, swift and unpredictable. But Amina was a master strategist. She studied their movements, using the terrain to her advantage. After weeks of battle, she faced Saken Dawaki in single combat. Their fight was fierce, their blades clashing under the burning sun. Finally, with a swift maneuver, Amina disarmed him and placed her sword at his throat. "Now tell me, mighty warrior, do you bow to this queen?" she asked. To everyone's surprise, Saken Dawaki laughed. "I do, but not as a defeated enemy. I bow to you as a warrior worthy of respect. Let us rule together." Though she admired his strength, Amina refused his offer. "Zazzau needs no king. My people are my only love." Yet, deep inside, she knew that war had taken its toll on her heart. With her empire growing, Amina turned her attention to strengthening her cities. She ordered the construction of fortified walls around every major settlement she had conquered. These walls, later called Amina's walls, became a symbol of her reign. Merchants from distant lands flocked to Zazzau, bringing gold, silk, and spices. The city flourished, and its people thrived under her rule. But even in peace, whispers of war never faded. One evening, as Amina stood upon the highest tower of her palace, she felt the weight of her choices. She had conquered lands, built cities, and forged history. But she was alone. A warrior queen had no time for love. Or so she thought. Among Amina's allies was Prince Idris of Gobe, a man as cunning as he was charming. Unlike other rulers, he did not fear her. Instead, he admired her, perhaps too much. One night, after a victorious feast, Idris approached Amina. "You have conquered the world, my queen. But have you conquered your own heart?" His words stirred something within her. For the first time, Amina allowed herself to wonder, was there room for love in the life of a warrior? But love, like war, is full of danger. Unbeknownst to Amina, Idris had come not as a lover, but as a deceiver. His kingdom, envious of her power, sought to destroy Zazzau from within. And so, under the guise of love, he plotted her downfall. One fateful night, as Amina rested in her chambers, Idris's men moved in to assassinate her. But the queen was no fool. She had sensed his betrayal. As the assassins entered, they found not a sleeping queen, but a warrior waiting with her blade drawn. Amina struck down the traitors and rode into the night, leading her forces to Gobe. The betrayal had hardened her heart forever. "Love is a weakness," she whispered as she watched Gobe burn. Years passed, and Amina's empire continued to grow. But with every battle, she lost something of herself. The warriors who had once fought beside her had aged. Many had fallen. And as she looked around her great palace, she saw only the ghosts of her past. Her people worshipped her as a goddess, but they feared her as well. A queen must be more than just a conqueror, said her old friend, then Galadima, now one of her most trusted advisors. You have given Zazzau an empire. But what will you leave behind? Amina realized that her greatest battle was not against armies, it was against time itself. One night, as she wandered the forests of her childhood, Amina encountered an old woman sitting by a sacred tree. Do you seek wisdom, Queen of Zazzau? The woman asked. Amina nodded. Then listen well. You have conquered men, but you cannot conquer fate. No warrior can escape death. But a true ruler ensures that their story never fades. The old woman, a spirit of the Bori, warned Amina that her time was near. The spirits had granted her greatness, but all greatness came with a cost. Amina returned to her kingdom, knowing that her final battle was at hand. Amina's last war was against the combined forces of Bono and Katsina, two powerful kingdoms that had long envied Zazzau's strength. Though she was older now, she rode into battle like she had in her youth. The warriors of Zazzau followed her, ready to die for their queen. The battle was fierce. For days, the clash of steel and the cries of warriors filled the air. But on the final day, as Amina led a charge against the enemy's strongest line, an arrow found its mark. The queen fell from her horse, her blood soaking the earth she had fought so hard to protect. Her warriors rallied, fighting with the fury of lions, and they drove the enemy back. But when they reached their queen, she was still. Her final words were whispered to the wind, Zazzau will never fall. And with that, the warrior queen of Zazzau breathed her last. Though she was gone, Amina's name lived on. The walls she built still stood, protecting her people for generations. The cities she conquered prospered, becoming centers of trade and culture. Even today, the people of Zazzau and beyond speak her name with reverence. She was not just a queen, she was a legend. And somewhere, in the whispers of the wind, in the echoes of hoofbeats upon the earth, and in the fire of every warrior's heart, Queen Amina rides on. Here is the remains of the great Amina of Zazzau wall in modern-day Zaria, Kaduna state of Nigeria. Showing ancient architecture still standing like yesterday. Leave a comment, like and subscribe for more African folktales.